Hi, and welcome back to Recall the Midwife. We are three super fans, and each week we watch an episode and talk about it. I'm Becky.
I'm Alex.
I'm Jen. A reminder that this week's episode deals with family separation and adoption, chronic illness, miscarriage, and sex work. So if those topics are ones you prefer to skip this time, we understand and hope you join us for the next one. In this week's episode, it is Lent in Poplar. A thief is stealing milk from Fred and Violet and Nana's house. Fred, Mojo, and Sister Julienne set up as surveillance and catch the culprit, Tina Atkins. She is an expectant mother and taking the milk because she believes it is important for her pregnancy. She gets booked in at the clinic and Sister Julienne begins caring for her. They soon learn she has given birth before and has contracted gonorrhea. She is admitted to the maternity home and soon the sisters connect two children in foster care as Tina's biological children. Their adoption and Tina's pregnancy complications lead Sister Julienne to a serious contemplation of what it means to care for her patients. Val is caring for Vern Bulmer and knows her and her mother Flory very well. When Flory goes out and leaves Vern's toddler daughter at home alone, concern grows about Flory's health. Dr. Turner gets involved and initially diagnoses her with diabetes, but additional symptoms cause him to reconsider. He realizes she actually has an iron imbalance and ongoing treatments will manage her condition very well. It's a great relief to the family who thought Flory was terminally ill. Lastly, Miss Higgins and Sergeant Woolf have begun dating, but a health crisis stops their new romance in its tracks. Girls.
Oh my
I
God,
want a parcel
Sergeant...
with cake. Can one of you send me a parcel with cake? I know that's rich coming from me. I really owe you a parcel, Jen. Thinking that today.
We're getting close to the year anniversary.
We genuinely are.
My parcel being due.
I've got your Christmas card there waiting. It's lovely.
I can't wait.
You might get two at once.
I tell you what, though, they go hard for Lent in Poplar, don't they?
Oh my goodness.
Violet made me laugh. She was so moody. She gave up sugar, didn't she?
Yeah, and then Fred is like, I'll give up sugar, but I can't give up milk. Like it's like I'm clinging to life with my one thing. And then also, did you see the look on Lucille's face when she was going around taking Trixie and Val's cigarettes and everything? Like it was the best day of the year for her. She loved that. Oh gosh, I can't believe Trixie was gonna smoke inside. Like that just goes to show you like how long ago this was. Oh my word. I just couldn't believe it.
Speaking of smoking inside, we'll talk about that in a minute. But when the baby was born, the dad was just like smoking away, smoking. And then when the baby's been born, he just put it down. I was like, this smoky breath. Well, that wouldn't happen now.
But I think because we are of that generation where smoking was banned while like we were
coming up,
which were full of smoke. Like for my niece now, we watched Titanic this week and there was smoke. I mean, obviously that is going back quite a way, but there was smoke. And it was just so alien to her to see even a film where people were smoking.
Yeah, it's mad, isn't it?
I know.
I remember smoking on planes.
People could smoke in hospitals.
I know.
Do you remember every restaurant they would say smoking or non when you would walk in?
And it'd literally just be a table next to you.
As if it made a difference. It really didn't. Yeah.
Don't get me wrong, I'm very, very glad it's different now. But yeah, as I say, we went to the theatre and Bob saw someone outside smoking and she was scared of him.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, wow. That definitely, yeah, absolutely.
I tell you what, though, I do hate people who vape as well.
Oh, same.
Oh, vaping is worse. Yeah.
Because if you're walking behind them, you're just walking in a cloud of...
Yeah, it's horrible. And they all have weird like pumpkin spice, like flakes, candy floss, apple.
I know.
Yeah, it's just awful. They're equally as bad.
But clubs and pubs smell of Trumps now, so you don't have to wash your hair. You remember when we had to come home and like just have a shower and wash our hair and wash our feet because they were covered in like ash.
Yeah.
Ugh. Anyway, sorry, carry on.
Different times. Shall we talk about Tina Atkins first?
Oh, Tina.
Yes. Now, the whole Tina thing kicked off by Violet finding out the milk had been stolen. And she was absolutely outraged because she'd not had sugar, so she was a bit annoyed. But the thing is, I think Fred should have been a bit more outraged than he was. He was a bit like, oh, I'll have to have it. I'd be so angry if I had to have my cup of tea without milk. I'd be fuming.
Girls, we've talked about this. If it was me, if we didn't have any milk, I literally just would have taken that cup and turned it down the drain. I can't drink black tea. I know we've already talked about this in the pod, but like you girls are better than me. I can't do it.
I get so outraged at work if the end of the week, sometimes it gets to a Friday and we've run out of milk, or on a Monday morning when the milk hasn't arrived yet. But there's always skimmed milk, and I'm like, it's basically water. Like, there's no point to skim milk.
No, skim milk is
I like skim.
Oh no, Alex.
Sorry.
Oh my God, the look of judgment I'm giving you right
I
now for
have
that.
semi-skim. We have semi-skim, but I quite like skim. Found it.
You quite like skim milk?
Yeah, it's all right. On cereal. I like it.
But when I
I
go
like-
to my grandma's, they still drink out of teacups like Fred and Violet.
Oh.
But you have to get a decent cup of tea in the morning, you have to have so many little cups of tea.
I want one of them, but a massive one. That'd be good.
I know.
Yeah.
I love teacups, but the thing is you drink like 2 sips and then it's like, oh, it's gone.
Yeah.
And then you're like, oh, I have to make this 10 times
Like,
again.
I mean, you can see mine right now. It's as big as my head.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah,
China.
I know. Yeah. I have a sweet spot. I want it to be like so big that I won't be able to drink it all. Because I want to have this feeling of abundance, even though I know it's like just so deeply wasteful because I'm never gonna be
I'd
able to
quite like
drink
a
all of
tea's
it.
made because I drink so many cups of tea that I could just drink all day. Like I could just drink chain drink all day. I'd like a tea's made next to me in my office or whatever, or my desk.
I'm the same, Alex.
Oh,
I drink at least 50 cups of tea a day.
Yeah, me and you very much like we like a cup of tea, or I'm going at like
50.
what if one of us finishes out a cup of tea, I'll just do it. Yeah.
Oh my God, no. I have 1 coffee and that's it. I can't do more than that. It'll make me too weird.
Oh, I love a cup of tea. We tried doing a thing at work, doing it every hour, and no one could keep up with me. So
Well, that's the thing. And I feel just like British people are so different in this because like when I came over, tea is just so well, again, other Americans who listen to the show, correct me if I'm wrong, but like tea to me is 180% different in the United States. And like it's just so wild. Like and initially when I'm with you guys, it's like, oh, a cup of tea, and it's like, yeah, great. And then I realize I've drunk like 6 and it's like 5 o'clock in the afternoon, and I'm like, I'm gonna just lay awake like spinning my top all night long if I
I
don't
literally have
stop.
them in bed. I have a cup of tea in bed and then go to sleep.
Oh my God, I can't.
But
If you drank coffee that way, would you be the same?
I don't like coffee.
I don't like coffee either, but I don't think tea is I don't think in terms of caffeine, I don't think it's as bad as coffee.
I don't know,
It may not be quite as bad, but at that volume,
When we met girls, I had the world's worst Pepsi habit, if you remember.
I do.
I used to drink about 1 billion things of Pepsi a day. So the point being, caffeine just has no effect on me. I'm absolutely fine on it. Anyway, right, back to milk. So one of my favourite lines that I've ever heard in Call the Midwife is, "We too have fallen prey to the purloiner of dairy products."
Monica Joan.
Now,
She was saying a lot of great stuff this episode. Yeah.
She was. Well, her and Fred were absolutely amazing in their ambush of catching the thief.
I know.
Oh,
I know. I love when Fred came up behind her with that like with the jacket that he has with the leather patches on the.
Isn't that called a donkey jacket?
What?
Is that not called a donkey jacket?
Donkey jacket.
Oh, maybe it's something weird my mum says.
I mean, I've not heard that name. It could be called that. And I just don't know about that. But I just thought it was a cool jacket.
Yes, it's a classic wool donkey jacket. That's what it's called.
Oh, okay. I just thought he looked super cool. Yeah, right on.
It was
Groovy.
the fact he just tried to hide behind the war memorial.
I know.
I will say for Tina, she was giving Pretty Woman vibes to me with the wig.
She really was.
I'll tell you what, the second I saw her, I was like, that wig is hilarious. Like, her head literally looked like a watermelon with that wig on. Like, I don't know where they found that hat. That hat had a 28-inch circumference. Like, that whole thing was hilarious. I was
Yeah,
like,
but they were
girl...
well in. They were well in. I thought at first she was going to be like this aspiring singer or something, because she was like, oh, I'm going to go up in the 60s.
No.
You know, she was like, I'm going to go and work in a record store and all this. But no, she was very much not like that. She had no aspirations at all.
No. It was just, yeah, no.
Also, did you see the scene, Jen, where they had her in a makeup? She was put in mascara, but it was like a powdered, like it looked like watercolor.
Oh no, I didn't know. No, we didn't get that
Jen would
scene.
love that.
I wish I'd had that. Darn it. I will say I clocked her makeup in a big way because she had that like really intense like gray eyeshadow with like a dark gray like Egyptian kind of like line of like eyeliner across and everything, and like poor girl like didn't wash her face like for 45 days in a row, and I was just like getting increasing, it was just like crusting. I was just like, Tina, I'm like, your personal hygiene is just really, oh sweetie. I was so bummed for her. But you know what, I also felt like Sister Julienne was just kind of over it from the moment she like started in, because like even when they were talking about like catching the person person who was stealing the milk. Did you see the look on Sister Julienne's face? She was just like, I don't have time for this. Like, I really don't. You know what I mean? I don't know.
Weird, complicated feelings about Sister Julienne in this storyline because I feel
Oh, I
Tina
deeply.
was
Go ahead.
she was challenging. But I
Yeah.
think, and I don't want to sound awful. Makes me sound awful. But like, Sister Julienne was there thinking the best of everyone, thinking she must want her kids and stuff. And
Yeah.
I thought, Sister Julienne, how many times have you been down this road before? You must know there are people who are just don't want to be saved. And this is like her first lesson, it seemed, in like people don't want to be saved. And also, I feel like it was like a big coded thing to get her to be accepted into contraception. But I just thought it's a weird. I just thought it was for someone who's been doing it so long to be so into your children are going up for adoption, you need to stop it. I thought, well, no, Sister Julienne, as a professional, you know this isn't the best for them because she's a sex worker. You tried to get her a job, she wouldn't take it. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, it was the way she just immediately assumed that Tina hadn't got the letter about the adoption.
Yeah, it's like she put her values on Tina, and I thought, you're too old to be doing this, mate. I could see Sister Frances doing this, which is why I thought it was a bit weird, but I do think it's because they wanted to show that she realised that contraception was a good idea, maybe, and they kind of wanted a storyline to flow through showing that.
So, girls, I think those are both great points. And now and I'll say
I'm going to blast it down.
No, it's not blasting. I would say I just have like a different perspective because,
go on.
and I could be deeply like overthinking this, but I watched this episode and I don't really do this usually, but like I rewound like portions of this multiple times just to like hear the scene again or like listen to it again. I feel like, as I'm reflecting, that, we've been saying, like, where's Sister Julienne? She hasn't really had a storyline in a minute, right?
Yeah.
And the last couple, so episode 1 of season 9, she got the letter about Nonata's house getting torn down and everything. And then, or was it the Christmas episode? No, it was episode 1. And so then she talked to like Sister Hilda about it, I think, and she was like, don't tell anybody. And I think she's like, and then the tea scene got me because when Sister Monica Joan was doing her whole thing, she was just kind of like, okay, yeah, we get it. Okay. That's my feeling as I'm like looking at her facial expressions, right? And then when she started working with Tina, the scene where she goes to Tina's like rooming house or brothel or whatever it is that she's working, and Tina says like, oh, I feel sick, like I've got a smell down there, like I think something's wrong. And Sister Julienne's like, oh, okay, well, and she's like, well, you can check me out right now if you want to. And you can tell Sister Julienne is like, no, I really don't want to do that. Like she looks around and she's kind of like,
Yeah, because first she's like, you mean discharge? She was quite abrupt by saying for her.
Yeah, exactly. And it struck me because it's like one of those things where like I've just been there where where you're like seeing a client and there's like you have the stuff that you need to do with them and then you have the stuff that you like could do but you don't have to do it, and like could you do it another way or another time or whatever. And some days you're just like, I'm gonna do it all, and then some days you're just like, not today, and I just felt like she had kind of the not today face on where she was just like, no, like call into the doctor's surgery, like he'll check you out there kind of a thing. And then when they were putting the pieces together about Tina's children and the fact that she'd had biological children before. And then the fact that Sister Julienne made that comment about her having gonorrhea, but like she won't actually like take the medication unless we're physically there to like give it to her and like watch her take it every single day. I felt like this, like, to me, when she had the scene with Sister Monica, and I'm going to make my point very shortly, I promise. The scene where she had Sister Monica Joan in the chapel, I want to talk about that more later, but I felt like she was just really like struggling a lot. And I felt like she was like hoping for the best, and like wanting the situation to be different and wanting to do better and like wanting to like maybe feeling like she hadn't done enough and then trying to do more. And like I just felt her struggle in a big way. And again, maybe now I'm like reading too much and like I'm transferring my own stuff onto her. But to me, like I just felt like the push and pull for Sister Julienne of like what is the right thing for this woman. And like I have my agenda, which is that she's reunified with her kids and that everything works out so perfect and she goes work in the factory and then she becomes this like not respectable is not the right word, but she like leaves the sex work behind.
Mother.
That she like really like thoughtfully cares for her children. She like wants to be reunified with them and everything like the way she wanted. And then at the end she's like, no, it's not going to happen. And I think it was less a feature of like the fact that she didn't know better than it was that like when you're having a tough time, it's like you're having a tough time. And to me, this was where Sister Julienne, I feel like, was just struggling and like just trying to do the right thing.
Like going through the motions, like she knows she needs to do the right thing, so she's trying.
Well, and I felt like she was like course correcting a lot in the episode, like she was, like she like, kind of wasn't there enough, then she was there more, then she was there too much, then she kind of like let Sheila take the, I don't know, I just felt like it was, to me, it felt very nuanced, and so I just didn't think it was like, oh, she doesn't know better that this woman isn't going to take care of her kids. I just thought she's trying so hard, and this is a tough situation, and like, what is the best thing? Like, who really knows, honestly? And like getting to the
Maybe
point.
that's me being jaded, but I was a bit like, oh, come on, she's not going to. They've been in care for ages. So we need to do the context thing. So basically,
Yeah.
she goes round. She's like, oh, I've got a funny smell down there. She's like, well, go and see the doctor because I don't want to look at it. And she's like, okay. So then she's like, right, goes out the door, and then
she does go.
She leaves, and then a sailor knocks on the door behind her, being like,
and Sister Julienne is like, oh,
like, hello, sailor. So he's like, I'm really into watermelon haired people with bad
really.
makeup. And then they find out from the school, because Sister Hilda's a knit nurse. Don't talk to me about knits, guys. Knits has happened in my daughter's class again. I'm so angry.
I know.
We had to do a whole family, because it's school holidays now. We had to do a whole family thing on the night after the school holidays, because I was like, right, we're having knits gone from this household forever. Banished. Boil wash pillows. Anyway, did you have a knit nurse when you were growing up?
You're looking at Bex, right?
Both of you.
I don't really remember having knits as a child.
I never had knits, but do you remember having a knit nurse at school?
I don't remember school.
Oh, you were, honestly. Yes, I remember having a knit nurse. We had a knit nurse that used to come in a few times a year. I never once had knits.
Never,
no. Did you have a knit nurse who came in?
So we didn't call it that. No. But we did have
Knitting Aura, the head explorer.
Oh my God. No, we had a person who would check our hair for knits, and the thing that really stuck out in my mind was that like whenever they would do it, I don't know if you guys did it this way, but they would take 2 uncooked spaghetti noodles and like move our hair around so they could see our scalps to see if we had knits.
Wow,
and then they would throw it away every time they touched, like they would just throw the noodles away
that's clever.
time. Yeah. And they would check our hair. I did have knits one time, and it was my poor mother. I know it drove her crazy. Because both me and my
knits must be a nightmare.
I know. It was really, really hard to get them out. And then me and my sister both had Allison had like short hair growing up, but yeah, we both had a lot of hair, and just dealing with it was a nightmare, and it was a real pain. And then I had to have my hair cut because my mom just wanted to be done with it, and my hair was really long, and she was like, I can't take this anymore. So she cut my hair really short, and I cried.
Oh, bless you. I'm not with your mum now. I feel bad now.
Did she go, Jen? Did she go bob or short?
Yeah, pretty short. Yeah, no, I wish she
got the clippers out.
Oh wait, here, I'll show you the photo right now. Here, hold, I'll show you the photo right now.
I want to see this.
I couldn't imagine anything worse than being a knit nurse, because it just makes you feel so itchy, doesn't it?
Well, no, I can think of a few things worse, like kids' snot nose things. Blech.
Listeners won't be able to see, but this was me right after.
Oh, bless you. Although it's just a bob. That's not. I thought you were going to say awful short. It's just a nice little bob.
When I tell you, I had hair down to like there before this.
See, I think I'm a bit weird because I never really understand people who get upset about the haircut because it's going to grow back.
Oh no.
Yeah, but I know. But if you've gone long to short, it is going to grow back.
Look how sweet I am in this.
You are cute, Jen.
Oh.
You look like your nephews.
I know I do, and they look like me. Does anyone ever look at the pictures of themselves when they were kids and just feel so like tender-hearted for themselves as a little kiddo? Do you ever? Because you know what? Like, okay, so this photo was taken when I was in elementary school. I want to say I'm like probably like about 9 years old here. And I don't know, like not to go off on a big tangent. I'm like very much my feelings today, but like little girls and probably little boys too, I don't know. But like little girls, I feel like this is like a big time of life where like some of the big stuff really starts happening. And you start having a lot of like, like a lot of like stuff in your mind. You know what I mean? Like about relationships and your friends and just, just like complicated, like really tough feelings. And like, I just look back at this little girl. I just knew how hard I was on myself at this time in my life. You know what I mean? And like,
no, now you made me sad and upset.
Well, no, it's not that. Like I feel very blessed. Like I had a very happy, loving, oh, look at you. Ow. Oh my gosh, look at you. So sweet. You're playing the piano. Not like a keyboard.
I'm just like Bob's, to be fair.
Yeah. But I know, I mean, I had a very happy childhood, like super, super. I mean, like I really truly no
Yeah, but
complaints.
this is the time. I know what you mean. This is the
But
time
this is
when
the time where
outside
like,
influences get in the way, like people at school saying things and just horrible people. Or you
yeah,
go. This is the time when you can't just be protected by family. This is the time when you realize
right.
about the outside world. I know exactly what you're saying.
Yeah, like you get bullied, you have problems with your friends, you're not, you know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like it's just a lot of that kind of stuff. And like I just look at this little sweetie pie. Oh, my little face.
Do you know, we went to see my father-in-law and mother-in-law today, and my daughter, we were in the garden, and my daughter said to my husband, she said, did you have any girlfriends before mummy? And he was like, when I was
No,
younger,
I
yeah.
didn't.
When I was
No.
younger, yeah. And then she went, who and when and how many? And luckily at that minute, is the grandma came out with the drinks. We were just like, oh my God, thank God. But I just know that's the question that's being asked next.
Oh my
Anyway,
gosh.
so back
Oh
to
my
knit
gosh.
nurses. They found out that when Sister Hilda was a knit nurse at the school, that there was
Yeah.
Marnie Atkins who had knits with Lenny Atkins.
Yeah.
Can I say
Oh,
I
and
Oh,
the
like
fact that
Lenny?
when
those
Marnie went
kids.
to put brother for a cuddle.
I know. And I was
Oh, and
thinking,
he
oh
gave her a
God, he's
hug
going to
on
get
the
knits from that.
I know, that's exactly what I thought too. That's exactly what I thought too. But then I saw them and I was like, he probably already has them. Sorry, but
And this, because obviously at that point,
he just looked like her. I mean, they styled that little girl actress to look like a child who was not really fully being taken care of amazing. You know what I
The thing
mean?
is, she was because she was in foster care. So she actually was.
She was, but she didn't look as polished as the other kids. Am I crazy?
no, because the first two kids, like you just knew when she went to the knit nurse before she even got there that she had knit.
Yeah.
Well, you did
Yeah,
because she
it
was
was
scratching a bloody
absolutely.
head.
But yeah, it
When
wasn't even that. You just knew.
I
Well, do
know.
you know what
She
got
just
me? The teacher. The teacher's not a flaming no GDPR there from the teacher. Sister Hilda was like to the teacher, "Oh yeah, do you know about poor Marnie and Lenny Atkins?" And she was like, "Oh yeah, well, do you know anything about the mother? They're in care. The mother, Tina Atkins, she's the prostitute of the docks." I thought, all right.
The teacher is basically me. But
She's like,
I
I'll
mean,
tell you a story. Yeah.
but this is what gets me because this is the point that we learn that obviously Tina's got because
Gonorrhea.
initially, who is it that does the examination realize that she's had
Oh,
stitches?
Sheila.
Sheila.
Yeah.
So we know that she's had one child and she's spoken about a son that's gone off to America and lives on the coast
With his dad.
in
Yeah.
one of those big
Yeah.
white houses. And I
I
just
really
thought
wanted
of
to believe
Sister
that.
Julienne, like surely like that's quite a story.
But that's
And
also
she
like
was
you've been doing this 40 years. Like,
Again,
exactly.
I think it was wishful thinking, girls. I think it was wishful thinking because the thing is like when they were doing the whole thing, because like here's what I thought too. This was like harking me back to Elaine Pilkington, remember? And how they discovered like Lucille discovered she'd had a baby when she came in to give
yeah.
birth with the other one. And in that case, I had a lot of reservations. I was like, I don't think really Elaine is in a great position to be able to take care of a baby here. And I was having the same feeling about Tina, especially because of the line that teacher says where it's like, oh, the little one, the little girl really longs for her mother, and so they every once in a while they'll like keep trying to bring her back, but bring the kids back with her, like reunify the family, and then she keeps on neglecting them, and so then they have to take them out of the house, but the little one is still kind of like, like really attached, like it's hard for her to let go because it's her mom, and I was like, oh, okay, well that's really sad. And then when Sister Julienne found out about the adoption papers and everything, and she goes there with well, no, it's she hasn't found out about the adoption yet. It was earlier because she takes the paperwork about the job working at the same factory where Vern works at, the like I think it's a sewing factory is what I kind of imagined there. And she's like, well, look, you can do this work. It's not physically like laborious. You can work throughout your pregnancy and then you'll have a paycheck and then you can take care of your kids and everything. That to me just felt like real wishful thinking. I was like, because
Yeah,
she
but
was like,
also Sister
no, I'm not going to
Hilda.
do that.
Sister Hilda was in the real world because she was saying to her, like, her past will affect her keeping her baby. Like,
Well,
Sister Julianne
honestly, as
must have
it
had
should.
billions of cases of
I
this
hate
before. So why was
it's
she trying to put it forward? Also, I liked how she stripped in public. They were just like, oh, you can get changed there. And she was just like, oh, yoink, yeeted it. Yeeted it off. Have you heard the phrase yeeted?
I've
No.
heard it, but I don't really know it.
Yeeted means
I
throw it.
couldn't
Well, I've found out from my 7-year-old who keeps being like, I yeeted it over there. I yeeted it there. Oh, I yeeted this person on robots. I was like, what's it even mean? It means throw.
Oh.
throw.
Yeah.
Okay.
But
Okay.
yeah, so she was just there getting, I'd have loved me and Becky, not so much Jenn, Jen's got more compassion. Me and Becky would have loved to have been in the maternity home with her would have hated it, but also equal measure loved it because she was like a right spectacle, bringing the drama.
Which one of you would have gotten into the fight with her over the magazine that
Totally
she
me.
borrowed? Yeah, there you go.
Totally me. I've got principles, but I'm not that you haven't, bet. But I'm just a bit like, it's the principle of the matter. Also, the way she like shamed Sister Francis, being like, "How old are you? You're really smart. You're really young." And she was like, "Oh, I was 17 when I joined the order." She was like, "So you've never, blimey." And I was a bit like, "All right, shame for not having
Shame.
sex."
Well, also, like, I'm sorry, but like having sex with a sailor one time while you got a stinky fanny, like, is not really like a big life experience that everyone needs to have. You know what I mean? Like, it just.
But it depends on the sailor.
Oh,
It's more the sailor I feel sorry for in that, if I'm honest.
Well, yeah, absolutely. But again, I mean, it's like the way she made it sound was like, oh, you've never had any fun, you've never partied, you've never like felt the warm embrace of a man, you've never, like she's the way she said it was like, oh, you've never lived, you've never had all these like wonderful life experiences. And I was like, Tina, I mean, like no judgment on your life choices, but like not. I do judge some of her life choices, but like some of her life choices are like, okay, whatever, like what, but I was like, don't try to tell Sister Francis that she's like barking up the wrong tree.
Exactly.
Here. I was just
So
like, come on
anyway,
now.
Tina's just being a bloody stroppy cow. She's being horrible to everyone. So she's in there because they're trying to look after her, and she's just rude. So then she basically goes, and I was a bit like, good riddance to bad rubbish. And even though you are pregnant, but then Sister Julienne finds her by the bins where they found Primrose lying down in pain, and basically she had a ruptured ectopic pregnancy.
Which, I mean, that's terrible. That's unequivocally terrible. Like, no, that's terrible. So, yeah.
Also, we've just learned that that's the back entrance. How many people have been lifting prams up those steps? Why are they going in the back way with the pram?
No.
Why haven't they been going around
a lot of people going in that way? I don't see people going in that way. I think they come through the front.
I will produce evidence. People have been lifting prams up those steps.
I've seen.
Speaking of evidence, by the way, Becky, I did not get pictures.
No, I will provide those.
Well, it's past the time.
Phyllis as well this week in like a pantsuit.
Well, you can send screen grabs of these lovely outfits, please.
I like that.
On social media, our fans need it.
I know. They do. I will say I've seen like to me they use the back entrance for like professional scenes, like where not professional scenes, but like scenes where like Sheila's coming out and that's where Dr. Turner had the car parked when they bought the new car. And like,
I think just got a new angle they want to just use loads.
Yeah. So anyways.
So so they managed to save a fallopian tube and Sister Julienne stayed with Tina the whole time.
Yeah.
And Tina was like, I don't know why they bothered saving it. And if I'm honest, I don't bloody know why either, because she's gonna have more kids and never look after them.
Oh, I did feel bad for Tina though. I don't think she should have more kids either, but I did feel bad for her. Like I felt like she had a lot of shame. I feel glad for her
she didn't, but at the same time, I just don't think she should have any more kids that she's going to neglect and adopt.
Yeah. It's not like no, I don't either. I didn't want her to do that, but I just felt bad because I felt like she seemed to be telegraphing a lot of like personal shame. Like it's like, listen, like I know that I'm not a good mom. Like I know I'm, like she didn't seem like.
Yeah, but Jen, it wasn't even like she tried. She literally neglected them. That's what they said. But then even then, Sister Julienne said about opposing the adoption. That was when she said it, after all that. And I was a bit like, read the room, Sister Julienne. Like, she wouldn't be able to keep this baby. She's neglected the children, which is why they've gone back into care. This is not someone who should be having the kids. Like, she must have had it in loads and loads of this kind of situation.
And Tina says at one point, like, this is my second, well, it's not a second chance. She did say it was a second chance, but it's actually a third chance.
Yeah.
And she says she was too young, it wasn't her fault. And perhaps when she had those children, she was too young, but she's had opportunities since then to step up.
Yeah, and she hasn't. And then that's at the scene. So to finish all this off, Sister Julienne then goes to Trixie, who's helping as part of the contraceptive clinic.
Oh, wait, sorry.
Oh, go on.
Oh, well, okay, you say that part, but then I want to go back a little bit.
So basically, Sister Julienne says, will you have a word with her to try and make sure that this doesn't happen again? She's like, let's get her on the contraceptive pill so she's not getting pregnant again, because we don't want this situation.
Right. Well, and so that's the way the story kind of concludes, but I will say, like, so this was one of the scenes that I watched a few times because I just found myself like so touched by it, because Sister Julienne, I feel like I'm seeing her struggling a lot in this episode, and it's just before it's so the scene, okay, after Sister Julienne goes to Tina when she is in the hospital and she's like, I'm not gonna take have to take my kids and da-da-da. Like, I got the letter, I read the letter, I made an active choice that I'm not going to stop this adoption. And then Sister Julienne goes to, and again, it's Lent. So like, they don't make a big thing about it, but they kind of, you know, like there's an idea that like this is the time where people are doing a lot of like really serious reflection and like, you know, da da da. And she's in the chapel and Sister Monica Joan walks in. She's like, "Oh, sorry, I like bothered you when you're like trying to have some peace and quiet." And Sister Julian's like, "No, no, no, it's okay." And so then they talk about the situation with Tina and she's like, "You know, yeah, I'm trying to pray about this, but I just don't really know." And she's like, you know, and she says something about like in Lent, she's supposed to sacrifice, but she was indulging herself or something. I can't remember exactly how they phrased it, but then Sister Monica, oh, she said like, "I don't know if there's a piece of scripture that will work for this." Oh my God, my memory's so bad. Anyways, long story short, I do remember this part. Sister Monica Joan then says that she feels like it's like the sacrifice of Lent is less about the sacrifice and more about us setting aside our ego for God's will and like letting his will be the thing that we trust and just just go with that basically. And that we have to,
you can't change stuff. You kind of just have to kind of go with what is.
You have to let it be what it is. And in social work, one of the most foundational tenets of social work is that you have to meet each person where they are. And that was just like really like just that scene was just like speaking to me in such a big way.
Again,
because
I feel like she wasn't meeting her where she was. She was trying to put her values and morals onto
which is why it wasn't working, and it was why she was struggling, and it was why she was like, is this right, is this good? And then at the end it was hard for her to come to the realization that the thing that was the best thing is for these kids to not return to their mother, for Tina to go forward and keep doing what she's been doing, but just do it with reproductive care. And that's the thing, is that like meeting someone where they are sometimes means that you're going to meet them in a place that feels really not good and feels really like against your what you think would be best and against what you think should happen and all of that stuff. And you have to be willing to let people do the things that they want to do and make their own choices. That's what autonomy is about. And it was just such a deep and powerful scene to me. And like, I know I gripe about Sister Monica Joan, but I'm telling you, when she's on and like I was just I know I say this all the time like a broken record, but like those scenes where two women on the show or a group of women on the show are like leaning on each other in a big way and getting so much like wisdom from each other in a big way, it's just such good stuff, man. It really
is. Inject it into my veins. Shall we talk about Laverne Watkins? No, I've got here Laverne, Kev, and Gillian Bulmer, and Florrie Watkins.
Florrie Watkins, and Vern is the mother. And I can't remember
Laverne?
The name. Laverne. I thought it was Vern. That's just what the husband called her, so I wrote down Vern.
I think it was Laverne, but he quite possibly did call her Vern.
Yeah, but also the husband, quite good looking.
Hey,
we're back, baby. We're back.
Oh my God. He was so handsome. I just didn't want to be the first person to say
also,
it. Also,
their walls are very in right now. That deep forest green is very, very in.
Yeah. He was so cute. He was so sweet.
I love the way they just were going about life, not worrying about the fact that their mum had just turned into Marge Simpson. Like, she was bright yellow.
The minute we met her on that show, she was orange. Girls, she was orange.
She was basically Donald Trump. Like, I was just a bit like, what's going on?
I know. I was like, I wrote down Oompa Loompa in my notes because I was just like, what has happened to this woman? I was like, there's just no way. I mean, like, she's literally a regular English lady. And she even says, like, Dr. Turner, like, later on, he's like, have you been getting a lot of sun lately? And she's like, in Poplar, in March. like, are you an idiot? You know what I mean? I was like, how is no one seeing her insane jaundice, like, prior to this? But whatever.
Should I do an intro? So we meet Laverne. She's off to work.
Mm-hmm. Her mum, pregnant.
Yeah, she's got a Toddler, Julienne.
Gillian
was cute.
Gillian was really cute.
You can see. So basically, it was like a modern day childcare situation because Florrie was providing childcare. So she was coming around to look after Gillian during the day. Laverne works as a factory machinist. Her extra wage, basically, they're saving towards a house deposit.
Yeah, I say there as well. It's very real contrast to like when we first watched it in 1954. Like the kids were just playing in the street while they went off to work or whatever. Like they actually had childcare for them now.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, it's clear from the start that she's got joint pain. She's really tired. She sits down. She falls asleep.
Feels
she
like
falls
asleep,
right wakes up with a start. I think she didn't really realise where she was. Also, the fact that Laverne was leaving lists for her.
Yeah, like, just in case she went to the market.
Yeah, it's one thing to provide childcare, but it's another thing to leave a list for people.
Well, they say in the episode, like, the grandmother is holding this whole operation together. That's
Yeah.
why it's so devastating when she starts to lose her capability, because it's like this is the only thing that's making it work is a grandma.
And Laverne's expecting her second baby, so she's kind of off to clinic before she goes to work. She's good friend. I think she's friends with Val, isn't she?
Yeah, I think they know each
I
other
got
from
that.
school and stuff. Yeah.
But then obviously she comes home. Florrie has gone off to the shops with the list in a panic. She's woken up. I think she's kind of forgotten where she was. Julienne was playing underneath the table in a den, so she wasn't aware that she was there. The neighbours hear Julienne crying, and then bless her heart, sat in the hallway.
Oh no.
Oh no.
So Sergeant Woolf is at the door. The neighbours have heard her crying. I think I've just mentioned that. They've called the police. Laverne comes running home. She sees the ambulance. Actually, I'm getting ahead of myself because we've not talked about Sergeant Wolf's storyline. But she obviously sees that something's happened. Someone's put the front door in and she doesn't know where her mum is. Also, did you keep saying Kev? His name's Ken, isn't it?
Oh, is it? I thought it was Kev. I thought Kevin was a very what's the word? I just thought that was a very modern name for a grown-up man.
No, I think it was Ken.
Oh.
Then Florrie comes home from shopping. She's also distraught, drops her shopping bags. Can I just say, I've also been shopping with string shopping bags, so I'm very on brand for Call the Midwife at the moment.
I did think they reminded me of you. I knew you liked them.
I look and Ken. I mean, now they know that something is wrong with Florrie, and Dr. Turner gets involved.
Yeah.
I will say that Laverne just seems to be, she is concerned for her mum, but she just seems to be more concerned that she's being inconvenienced.
Yeah, it's like she's concerned from commodity wise, like what she could get from her.
Like,
not like, oh.
Dr. Turner suggests that while they're trying to get to the bottom of her mum's health issues, that she calls on a neighbour or a friend to look after Julienne. She's crying for herself. She's not crying for the fact that her mum is ill.
I think she took her mom for granted, if I'm going to be real.
Yeah, I do too.
Yeah.
Also, Ken immediately suspects that she's got a drink problem.
Well, I will say in Ken's defense,
Ken,
I've even written Ken here and not Kev, so I've just written Kev at the top for no reason. But I will say in his defense, it sounds like her grandma was an alcoholic. So she was like, oh, she won't even have it in the house or whatever because of her mum. So it does sound like there is history of it. And to be fair, he does have a point. She keeps having blackouts. She keeps waking up, can't get up in the morning. Like people, when they drink too much as well, they can also go yellow.
Wait a minute, girls. I'm so sorry. I apologize. I have to stop us in our tracks here. I've been wanting to do this ever since I watched the episode this morning, because usually this is something you do, Al. But do you guys know who Florrie is?
No.
Do you recognize her at all?
No.
She is familiar. Now you say that, she is familiar to me.
Okay. So I watched her and I was like, wait a minute, hold up. Now, I found her, okay? She's been in a ton of things. Obviously, she was in the Call the Midwife. She was in the Forsyth Saga. She was in the Iron Lady, Daniel Deronda, like on and on and on. Baby Reindeer, she was even in Baby Reindeer. But here's the thing. She is in I don't remember. She was in one of my absolute favorite things of all time ever, which is the OG to me, Persuasion with Kieran Hines. Killian Hines. Where is it? It's like way back. Wait. Oh God, I have to find it. It's from like a long time ago. It's from like the 90s. It's like
the one with
long ago.
With Emma Thompson.
No. Emma Thompson wasn't in this.
Sensibility.
So Emma Thompson was Sense and Sensibility. Oh, she also was a Jane Eyre. Persuasion. Anne Elliot. Here we go. Yeah. She was Kieran Hines. Yeah, I was right. He was the Captain Wentworth at the time. Look, this is the poster. I know you guys know it.
I've never seen it. No.
You've never seen it?
No. I'm looking now, right, on what all the credits, right? And I have not seen any of them, but one of them is the Hildegard of Bingen.
Oh,
that's what she played.
Yeah. Oh my God, another Call the Midwife connection. Yeah. Well, I'll just say, I mean,
I've not seen anything she's been in, Jen, so that's why I haven't done this. Do you know who she is? I didn't know who she was.
Oh my God. Well, here's the thing, listeners. I doubt this will be a surprise to you. I know it's certainly not a surprise to either of you two, but I love like all of these like period dramas, like history shows, like books, like da 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 da. Big Jane Austen fan, big Jane Austen fan, and have seen like every Jane Austen thing there like is to see. Like I've watched them all. Like I've watched like the faithful adaptations. I've watched like the wacky ones. Like I've watched the comedy. Like I just love it. Okay, and Pride and Prejudice I know is like the #1 favorite that everybody has. as you usually. But Persuasion is my favorite Jane Austen book. Like I love Persuasion. That is my favorite one. And I've watched like Sally Rooney did a Persuasion with Rupert Penry Jones that was really, really good. Oh, just don't even get me started.
I'm just about to do a confession, Jen. I've never read or seen Pride and Prejudice or Persuasion or any of that. Do you know why? Because my mum used to love it and I used to think, ugh. So do you know what? For you, I will watch them all.
I tell you what I love, Jane Eyre.
Oh, Jane Eyre is good.
That.
I've seen like 4 different Jane Eyres. They've done there's like a Jane Eyre for every like generation. You know what I mean? And actually, the really good Jane Eyre is with the guy who plays Mr. Rochester is Maggie Smith's son. He plays a really, really, really good Mr. Rochester. And I can't remember who Jane is in that one, but they've done a bunch of Jane Eyres. Jane Eyre is also very, very good. And actually, Jane Eyre is a really good book too. Like this, anyway, this is not a Jane Eyre podcast. Like, I'm going to stop myself. But just to say,
it definitely isn't because I have no clue what I'm talking about.
It's not a Jane Austen podcast either. But I'm just telling you, listeners, if you have not seen that Persuasion, it's a good Persuasion. Now it's dated. It's heavily, heavily dated. Like if you watch it, you're gonna really feel like, oh, it's so dated. It came out in 1995. It's you know what it's like? It's very similar in terms of like cinematography and everything like that as the Colin Firth, Mr. Darcy, and Jennifer Ely, Miss Elizabeth Bennet, Pride and Prejudice of that time. You know that time, and that's another one I've watched. Don't even get me started.
I've never seen it. Right, I will watch it. But can I just say what a niche way for me to get into watching these? The mum was Florrie Watkins. Florrie Watkins, the mum in Call The Midwife. That's got me watching Pride and Prejudice and Persuasion.
Oh my God, they're so darn good, so darn good. Oh man. So anyways, like as soon as I saw her, I was like, wait a minute, and it took me a second. But anyways, she deserves an honorable mention.
Is searching for why she's yellow and
why
all
she's
of it.
yellow, yeah. Why she's bright orange.
Yeah.
You know what Florrie looks like? She looks like she's about to go on Love Island with that tan. She's bright orange. She's ready to go into the villa.
Well, she is.
But we need to take a step back because when Ken does suspect of drinking, I did love how Laverne immediately threatened to throw him out.
Yeah. Like you may have a valid point, Ken, but you're leaving.
Well, Ken was like the least 1960s husband of anybody, because even then later when she comes in after they've realized that the mother is sick from something else and everything, and she's like, it's good news, babe, but here's what's gonna happen. And he's like literally like, I think stirring a pot of stew or something. He's like, all right, tell me what's gonna happen. And she's like, here we go. Lesson 1. And then he's like, yep, whatever you say, as long as we're together, babe, I love you. And then he like gives her a hug and I'm like, who is this man? And this man is not of this time. Like he was just being like such a
He also took that pretty well. I'm pretty sure if I said to my husband, like, you can't disagree with me, you're going to have to move out. Like, he'd be like, this is actually a really horrible argument we're about to have. Whereas Ken was just like, oh, right. Like...
Well, wait a minute. This I agree. I mean, she was really laying down the law, but did you get the sense that Laverne and Florrie were kind of like a single...
Yeah.
Like there was no dad in the house. It was like the two of them. Yeah, okay. I think at
one point they actually said, they do reference the fact that it's just been the two of them.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. Yeah. I kind of wonder if it's one of those type of ones where Ken just knows it's like it's a package deal. You know what I mean? Like my wife and my mother-in-law like go together, so there's like not really going to be.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what do you call him? Dr. Turner finds out it's hemochromatosis.
Oh,
and he was like, "You're not going to die," and she was so relieved. And I thought, well, it took you so long to find out there was that. Don't be confident saying she's not going to die. Like.
Also, he says it's manageable with bloodletting. It sounds absolutely barbaric. It's like when in medieval times when someone was just a bit hormonal and they would literally like drain the blood from them because they were being like,
oh God, no.
Hysterical.
Well, maybe who knew? They obviously got it right, didn't they?
Well, I was just like, I wonder what you would do for it now. Like, is there anything different nowadays for that? Like, could you like give them like an anti like iron pill or something like that? I don't know. I have no idea, obviously, but
I mean, if we were a better podcast, we would have researched that.
Well, I mean, we're not doctors, so we promised.
Yeah, we don't want to foster.
Yeah, it still happens. Phlebotomy procedure to remove some of your blood that needs to be done every week at first, continue to be needed 2 to 4 times a year for the rest of your life. And chelation
Oh,
therapy, where you take medicine to reduce the amount of iron in your body. This is only used if it's not easy to regularly remove some of your blood. So basically, it's still removing some of your blood
oh, okay.
this day in
Well,
2024.
okay.
So anyway, the daughter's to Ken. She's like, look, this is serious. She needs some help. I need some help. I'm gonna have another baby. We're giving up on the house for now. And he's just like, all right. And she's like, well, we can't do this. And he's like, yeah, fine. And she's like, well, we're gonna have to do it because I can't live like this anymore and I need the help. And he's like, yeah, no worries. And she's like, yeah, but we have to do it. And he's like, yeah, fine, absolutely fine, babe. And she's like, yeah, but we can't get the house. And he's like, fine.
He is like, you know what he's doing this week? It's what Dr. Turner did a few weeks ago with the guy who was cheating on his wife with the prostitutes, where the guy is like, listen, like I didn't have a good relationship with this prostitute. Dr. Turner's like, yeah, I really don't need to know about that. He's like, no, but I never cared about them at all. I didn't even see them as real people. Dr. Turner's like, you don't have to keep saying anything. No. And he's like, no, but he's like, you don't understand. Like, I really, really didn't even think about it that way. Like, they weren't even real people. And he was like, please stop talking. And just like, he kept on going.
But he was really supportive.
He was so supportive. He was like almost wildly like not even made sense how supportive he was. You know what I mean?
What got me though is that this is again, I'm just obsessed this week with taking a step back. When Laverne thought she was gonna, like, she didn't know what she was gonna do because she didn't have a mum for childcare. She's literally a week away from giving birth. Like, fine, times have moved on, but she was going to have to stop working at some point because she'd just given birth.
Well, exactly. But also,
she literally
I like the way
had to bring that forward a week.
Yeah, but also I like the way she was like, she was like, oh, labour, it can't be. You've got another week yet. And I thought, it's very, very heard of that people give birth a week before the due date. Like, it's not unheard of at all.
Absolutely.
Also, in those days, it's not... Surely it wouldn't be as scientific and on the nail as it is nowadays.
Exactly. You've got another week yet. It can't be. And I thought, hang on. You're in 1964 and a week's fine.
Well, also, like, to your point, Bex, again, yeah, like, to both of your points, but especially your point, Bex, where she's like, oh, like, like, what are we going to do? Like, I have to work and everything. It's like, well, is it 2024 and you're in America? Because, like, why are you even thinking about this way? You know what I mean? Like to me, like, having the mentality of like, oh, we have to be a 2-income household to like support ourselves, and I can't take off work without taking a huge financial hit, and I'm not even going to take off any work anyway. I was just like, that's something that like people, I don't know, again, it didn't really, to me, like, jive with the time the same way that some other storylines have. And I was like, yeah, I thought the same. I was like, well, this doesn't really seem like it's very, but.
Well, she goes into labour. Val comes and she's like, well done, chick. It's a daughter.
And a granddaughter.
Yeah. And then I've spoken about this before, but Ken was there waiting, smoking, like chain smoking. And he just came to meet his daughter, this just put the fag out. Smoke's still coming out of him. All right. Like, we didn't see him meet his daughter. That would have been actually a really nice scene. We just saw him smoking beforehand. But yeah, and they had a daughter, and I really hope they all had a lovely time.
Yeah.
And also, I was loving the fact he was loving that he had a daughter. Like, a lot of the time in the show, it's like negative connotations about having girls, but that's his second. He's already got Julienne. Good on him for being dead chuffed about a daughter.
Well, and it was really cute how, it was really cute how he was excited about a daughter. But at the same time, like, I thought it was really nice because, I mean, they put out their plans on hold, but like, probably in like 6 months or a year, they can, like, the grandma can go back to what she was doing before. Because she'll probably be fine.
Yeah, so she'll just do that until she's running the ground.
Yeah, so this
time she's letting blood out, so it'll be fine. Talking about health problems, should we talk about Sergeant Wolf's heart attack?
Oh my God.
Oh wait, we already said how hot the husband was though, right?
Yeah, we did.
Okay, all right, as long as we've covered it. This is important territory.
No one got my Ken is Kenning joke because everyone thought he was called Kev.
We're a year out from Barbie. I can't believe we didn't make like a not Kenough. What's the saying? Like, you're enough, Kenough. Like you're Kenough.
Yeah.
I've never said it before. It sounds so weird. Anyways. Ken, wait. So is it Ken or is it Kev? It's Ken. It's Ken.
It's Ken. Yeah, I was wrong.
Okay. Well, he is Kenough then.
But in the rest of my notes, I was right. So I don't know why I've got Kev on one bit.
I never even knew his name, honestly, until we started recording this. So, all right. Anyways, I've made enough stupid points now. All right.
So Miss Higgins looks so upset and worried when she finds out about him having a heart attack.
No, girls.
We've skipped
rewind. Yeah, rewind.
Let's take a step back.
Yeah.
Go on.
Because we've not talked about the fact that Miss Higgins is referring to Sergeant Wolf as her gentleman friend.
Friend.
He's given her a hyacinth, which he promises her will bloom by Mother's Day. Is that a euphemism?
No.
What for?
Oh, you mean sex?
Oh.
Yeah.
was like, why is Mother's Day important?
That's what I thought. And then I was like, well, no, I mean, I think Miss Higgins is past that point. But I mean, those two have moved on. They're talking about having a trip to the coast to visit his sister.
They're going to go on vacation and meet his family. Girls, this is serious. They are like officially, they're closed off. They're exclusive. They're boyfriend, girlfriend.
And when Sergeant Woolf grabbed his arm when he stood outside that address, I was like,
oh.
Well, I was waiting for you to remember what actually happened because I was thinking, Bex, we all know what's coming. And you're like, I have no idea.
You're like, wait a minute. What is going to happen? And we were like, oh no, here we go.
But even at that point, I thought he was going to die.
Oh, you thought he was going to die?
I didn't even remember it. Once he has the talk with Miss Higgins later on, then I was
honest,
like,
Bex, I'd have preferred it if he had.
Yeah.
Because I just don't like the rejection.
Well, this is a question. So he has a heart attack. He's admitted to Ward 12 of the hospital.
Yeah.
He meets the cardiologist and he basically is retired through ill health. And he says that he's not going to be able to go back to work.
Well, hang on. First, though, Miss Higgins goes to see him with Nurse Crane and she looks so worried and upset.
And she runs over and grabs his hand.
Well, Phyllis is so good, though, with her. Phyllis is like, but she attended him so lovingly. And Nurse Crane kind of leaves them to it because they're both kind of just so happy to see each other.
Mm-hmm.
But I will say, at the start, when Miss Higgins is talking about a gentleman friend, I did think there was a little tinge of...
Shut up.
I sensed something in it. I didn't know within Phyllis. I don't think it was jealousy because she just wasn't
No, I think she was just sick of hearing about him.
Yeah, I think she was just like, I'm so over this. Yeah, absolutely. She had the look that like I know I've had many times and I've tried to like have my poker face about when someone has like gotten to a new relationship and they are just
listeners, she does not have a poker face with stuff like this. Me and Bex have both seen it.
Fair enough. You know what? I'll own it. But when like I mean, it's so hard because like it's like usually like a dear friend you love so much, but like they just cannot shut up about their new relationship, and it's the most annoying and disgusting thing. And like all the happiness that you felt for them and feel for them is just eclipsed by the fact that you just wish like you would never have to hear about it again. Not that they would break up or that anything bad would happen, but it's just like just don't talk about it anymore. It's just I can't hear how cute like Rufus was the other night one more time. I'm gonna blow my top.
So then, as Bex said, he spoke to the cardiologist who was basically saying that you're not well, you're gonna have to give up work. So he's reconsidered his situation concerning Miss Higgins.
It's
it was awful.
I have to ask, do you two think he did the right thing?
No. Why not have some happiness?
I don't either.
I think it's ridiculous. I think it's ridiculous. The first time I watched it, I don't know what I thought. I don't think I had as much context the first time I watched it. I don't think I was like as invested, but now I'm just like, that was a terrible way to go. I
mean, I'm not being funny, but I probably cried more than Barbara. Like that's how it affected me. Like when she went out into the corridor crying, I genuinely was like, I was like, it broke my heart. I was just like, it was terrible. Crying than Barbara. I'm joking there. But it was awful. I was just like, how could you do that to our lovely Millicent?
And it was very honourable of him to do that. But I do like he should have given her that choice.
Yeah.
Oh, it was ridiculous.
I think it was honourable of him to do that. I think he did it to be like, well, we can't see each other. I think it's not just up to him. They're both having a lovely relationship. And she might have said, come and stay with me in Poplar or whatever. It might have moved it along a bit quicker.
It's misplaced because even though like I just said all that horrible stuff about how I'm like a terrible friend that like can't stand her friends when they get in relationships or whatever, like still at the same time I like if I was Miss Higgins' friend and I was like and like Phyllis, you know what I mean, and I was just like, oh, I don't want to hear about the hyacinth again, like I don't want to hear about Aubrey and his poems again or whatever, you know what I mean, like still if she, now I think Phyllis was an amazing friend, but if Millicent had come to me and we had been sitting on a park bench, I would have been like, girl, go get your man. Like, run back in there and be like, we don't have to break up. Like, you can get your, like, sergeant's pension. Like, I can do blah, blah, blah. Like, I know your sister, like, maybe you can convalesce with your sister for, like, a couple months or whatever. But, like, I'll come visit you. Like, we'll figure this thing out. You know what I mean? Like, we'll really care about each other. Yeah, like, we can do anything. Like, love conquers all. And, like, even though, like, I know that that's like a really fairy tale way to look at it. Like, I really do just.
Yeah, but I feel like love did conquer all because I feel like this made the solid friendship of Phyllis and Millicent even more solid. Because Phyllis was like, cup of tea, And she was like, I fear I've made myself look rather foolish. I let myself imagine it was something more than it was.
But she
And
did.
Oh, and that
yeah, but Nurse Crane was
Oh.
amazing. She was like, you've been disappointed in love. That doesn't mean there wasn't love there to begin with.
I
Women helping
know.
women love to see it. And then I've got some like strong
I
arm thing.
know. I
But
totally agree.
also, when the hyacinth had bloomed, and Millicent just plonked herself down at her desk, and I was just,
Oh,
my heart
I
broke.
know. We've all been there. You know what I mean? Oh my God, I really felt for her. When you're just
I
so
hate
down in
it.
the dumps. And Phyllis, like, the fact that Phyllis was just like, do you want to go for a cup of tea? Like, I know
Ugh.
you've had some hard news. I was just like truly a well-timed friend reaching out and like asking you to do something and like being there for you is one of the greatest gifts in life that there is. I
Exactly.
just was like,
I loved it. And I was
oh
just
my
like,
God.
oh, down with men.
Do you know what though? So Phyllis calls for after work in a pantsuit combo that I was loving.
Oh, I loved it. I would be wearing that outfit in a
See,
heartbeat.
Becky keeps doing this, listeners. She keeps just saying all these outfits that she loved and then doesn't send us pictures to put online. So can we have a revolt, please, of listeners to podcasts being like, excuse me, can you actually send us the pictures so we can share them online, please?
But she takes Millicent for tea. Millicent I don't know whether to call her Millicent or Miss Higgins. Miss Higgins thinks she's going to a cafe, but she's not. She's just going to the allotment and they're having tea from a flask. Now,
Aw.
all I could think watching this, and Phyllis says that they're doing that because she would go on long walks with her
Her
mother and they
mom
would
to like
talk.
shakes the cobwebs out. Yeah.
But all I could think was that is an authentic 1960s flask, and I wonder how Fausty that tea tastes made in a 1960s flask.
Oh, I'm telling you what, they probably scoured and scrubbed and bleached and washed that thing to make sure that it was fresh as a daisy before they made that tea or whatever it was that they were drinking out of it. Did you see the little cups that went with it?
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
what sent me, the little cups. Oh my goodness gracious.
We had one like that in the 80s.
Yeah.
But I suppose it was only
Oh,
20 years old though.
I was just so bummed at Aubrey, man. I was just like, I'm like, you had a heart attack. Like, what are you talking about? Like, what are you gonna, I mean, it's not like she's gonna have to like dress you and like wipe your bum every day. Like, what are you talking? Like, I just was like, come on. I mean, also, like, the thing is, like, they weren't even like that old. You know what I mean? Like, they're probably like Fred and Violet age. They're probably like in their like
They
mid
said
to late
50s.
50s.
They said
Yeah,
50s, yeah.
50s. I'm like, my dude, like, you had a heart attack, but like, just take it easy, okay? Like, stop working, like, eat some vegetables, like, go for walks. Like, you'll probably live for like another like 10 or 15 years at least. Like,
Also,
come
he's going to have a really
on.
good pension.
Yeah.
Absolutely. In 1964, absolutely that man's pension would be unreal. Also, he had the National Health Service like coming online. I'm like, oh my God. I'm like, this, there was no reason for them to break up. Like, absolutely none. And I'm just like, oh, when I watched it, I was like, you're such a like a dummy. Like you're dropping this woman like who's amazing and like for no good reason. And then you're gonna go be with your sister like a big no, I was not here for it. I was really just like, and then she was like, I've been like she's like, I've been starved of companionship. And then I like thought that, this could be like my guy or whatever. And you know what it made me think of is when Phyllis had the man who was married to the lady who had Alzheimer's and he was like, they started to date and Phyllis was getting really excited because she was like,
Yeah.
this is like my dude. And then it turned out, well, that was like a different kind of thing because they really did have to break up. But like, you know what I mean?
I don't think they did have to break up.
Well, they didn't have to, but it was just different though. I mean, like, because he was married, so like it just was a different barrier.
I still would have,
like,
Jen.
Well, no, I'm not saying they couldn't have kept dating, but like, but my point is that like Phyllis had that scene with Barbara in the car when like Barbara
It was
found
a Jane
out.
Eyre situation.
Yeah,
Jen.
yeah.
Mr.
Actually,
Rochester
honestly,
just wasn't locked in
This
the tower.
reference is absolutely wasted on me.
Well, read the book and then you'll understand. But basically, the thing is that like then Phyllis was like, listen, like I remember the scene so well because this is one of my favorite scenes when Barbara and Phyllis are talking about it and she's like, you don't have to say anything if you don't want to. And Phyllis is like, well, look, like I love my life. I have a great life, but like I am started to imagine a life that I hadn't thought was possible. And then I got excited about it. And now I feel really heartbroken. And so I just have to like just deal with it, And that was what I feel like Miss Higgins was saying in this one. And I felt like Phyllis was like just such a perfect person to be like, she didn't say anything. She just was like, yeah, I'm here for you, babe. I got you, And
I did work with somebody who had a gentleman friend, and his wife was alive and she had Alzheimer's or dementia, and she obviously had no knowledge of who her husband was. So she was essentially the mistress, and they used to go on holiday together and things, the three of them.
Wait a minute, your friend was the mistress?
Yeah, she was an older lady that I used to work with. So it was very much a like that.
Companion.
Yeah.
You
So
say
it
that.
was like kind of like a throuple or something, but not like
Well,
that
yeah, because they
way.
used to go on holiday together and things, but she was very much the mistress and used to go on holiday, and they used to take the wife because obviously she had no idea who she was going on holiday with.
I think that's absolutely fair enough. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, like, yeah, I'm not. I don't really have anything to say about that one.
Can we talk about Trixie being an absolute cow, by the way?
Oh wait, how? How is she a
Because
cow?
she wasn't having cigarettes, so they were all like, she was just being an absolute cow to everyone in the morning, like all grumpy and stuff.
Oh, yeah. Well, yeah.
And Fred sneaking the cake. I mean, lols.
Oh my God, you guys, I gave up sweets for or desserts or so. I gave up something I had for Lent one year, but I made myself a deal that like maple syrup on my pancakes didn't count.
It's natural sugar.
Yeah, exactly. I was like, well, that's not a dessert because pancakes aren't a dessert. And so I will tell you the amount of pancakes I ate during that Lent. Like telling myself it was fine.
I never give anything up for Lent. Do you, Bex?
Occasionally, but
I've never.
on the whole,
I think I might. I was gonna say I think I might this year, but like it's already passed. I'd have to wait another like 7 months. But okay,
Not
anyways,
worth
never
it.
mind. I'll revisit that later on. But yeah.
Right, should we do heroes and zeros?
Wait, did we talk about everything? That's everything, I guess.
Yeah.
Okay.
Bex?
Yeah, actually.
my zero is going to be, and I feel bad, but it's going to be Tina Atkins.
Oh,
I don't
yeah.
feel bad. She was right, not bad.
No, I get
Because
why she's a zero. Yeah, I get it.
I get that she was too young. I get that she had fallen into prostitution and it was difficult for her to get out of that situation. But Sister Julienne did present an opportunity for her to get out of that situation. And we've met plenty of prostitutes who've fallen pregnant and kept their baby.
Mm,
I'm being
yeah.
judgmental. I absolutely
That's
am.
fine.
But
No. I think no, I think
good
that's
reason.
I think yeah. I mean, I think that's fine. I don't think there's anything wrong with that zero. Absolutely.
my hero is going to be, I know who I want it to be, but I think Alex is going to have it.
Well, you can have it. You can have it.
So I'm going to go for Ken.
I'm just Ken. Da 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 da.
Because he was just
Ken.
he was
Kenough. It was just Kenough.
enough said.
Kenough said.
Enough said.
Yeah. Who's next? Me or you, Jen?
You, Al, you go ahead.
My zero is going to be Sergeant Wolf
Yeah.
for dumping my
yeah.
most beautiful Millicent. I was so angry with him. I still am.
Absolutely.
My hero is going to be the crack team of Sister Mojo and Fred for finding the people who were perpetrating the milk purloining. And well, the person who did it. So I just really loved that, the team effort of like just basically getting this milk fee. Loved it. So that's my hero.
Yeah. Oh man, do I want to go light or darker? Let me just keep it light. I'm gonna give my zero to Lucille, like a very light-hearted zero to Lucille for just enjoying throwing the girl cigarettes away just a little bit too much. Like
That's a bit of a hero move. I loved it.
They've got no idea at the minute how addictive those are.
And also how dangerous they are.
I know. I think they probably get how addictive they are, but probably not how dangerous they are. Yeah, but she just looked like she was kind of just like loving throwing them away. So Lucille will be my zero. And then I'm gonna give a hero honorable mention to Mojo because I loved her swooping in to help Sister Julienne.
Yeah.
But I'm gonna give my hero to Sister Julienne this week because she didn't have it all. She didn't do it perfect. She didn't do everything right. She didn't do it, like
we
with
almost have it all.
She didn't, like shine everyone. You know what I mean? Like but I just really appreciated the complexity of her situation and her handling of her situation. And I gotta give it to Jenny Agutter because she is just such a wonderful actress. And to me, this performance in this episode had so much depth and complexity. And I feel like I could watch this episode a few times and just watch Sister Julienne and her facial features and her, like, the way that she just like emotes and the way that she does her, like, you know, her performance is just so beautiful. And like, she wasn't getting it perfect, you know what I mean? She was struggling, like she was, you know, she was on like a hard road. And then at the end she came to a place with it where you wouldn't have thought she would come to. Like, she was the one that referred Tina to the contraceptive clinic, which you could tell she was not really like wanting to do that, you know, but then she realized that that's what Tina really, really needed, that was the help that was really best for her. I don't know, all around, like, just sometimes just getting in there and just like trying and just doing the work, even if you're not going to do it perfectly, just deserves a lot of credit. And so anyway, she's my hero.
I feel bad now because I would have had Phyllis as my hero because of the sisterhood and her support of Miss Higgins. So
yeah, that is a good one.
Yeah, I thought Alex would go for that, so I'd just give that one an honourable mention.
There you go. Very good. Yeah.
Oh, and just one for Millicent because I just feel for her.
Well, I'll tell you what, like in both cases, when the chips were down and the women were struggling, their fellow gal pals like came in and really lifted them up, and that's just so powerful. So powerful. I love the female friendships on the show. God, I've said it so many freaking times, like a broken record. I already said it even once before, but like, it's just the best.
It really, really is. Next week, we will be doing Series 9, Episode 3. So if you want to watch and then listen along with us, that would be fantastic. You can follow us on X, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, on YouTube. You can subscribe there. You can like and subscribe on any platform you can listen to podcasts on. Spotify, everything like that as well. Any ratings would be fantastic, only good ones. And so thank you so much for listening, and we'll see you next week.
See you next week.
See you next week.